like an amazing first experience on set.
Exactly. I was very lucky.
Yeah. So I'm sure that made you then want to go out and do even more movies and shows and
Definitely. Yeah, no, I was sold from then on. Absolutely. I mean, I already knew that I loved commercials and I loved performing and I loved the arts because I was also a big dancer when I was younger. Don't do that anymore. Don't ask me to dance anymore because it's not pretty. But I obviously I still love to sing. I do art just for myself. I paint and I draw. And so yeah, the arts are a big part of my identity, and I'm very creative, and so yeah, I mean, I think that when you find something that you really really love, like it's addictive. You know what I mean? Like, the movie industry, it's not for everyone. It's not easy. If you want to be in it, you really gotta love it, and there are the bad days where you're just like feeling like down on yourself or whatever. But then you just have to remind yourself, like, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I'm obsessed with it, like, yeah.
I want to welcome you to another extra special episode of Media from the Heart. My name is Ruth Hill, and I'm your host. And today I have an incredible young lady who I had on my show, Farryn VanHumbeck. I've had the honor of meeting this young lady in person. She has matured. She has grown into such an unbelievable, talented, incredible, gorgeous young lady. And I am so excited to be able to share this with you. You're going to learn so much about her, about how she got started, and about what she's doing now. And you're really going to get a sense of who she is. I have a feeling you're going to fall in love with her, just like I did. So without any further ado, Farryn, here we go.
Well, I want to welcome you to another episode of Media from the Heart. My name is Ruth Hill, and I am your host. And of course, I have, as always, an extra special guest. I've actually known this young lady. I've met this lady in person, as a matter of fact, a couple of years ago. Farryn VanHumbeck. I said your name right, correct?
Yes, you did.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. All right.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Farryn. It's so nice to have you here. I want to just say I remember so clearly having that opportunity to meet you back in Vancouver a couple of years ago.
Yes.
It still is one of those really special memories.
Absolutely.
And I was just so impressed with you. I remember you having to park the car. I remember your mom had you park the car. I remember that.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I do have my full license now, so.
Okay, and your mom is amazing too, because your mom was there, and it was great to get to spend some time with you all, and
yeah, I mean, we were with Sean Thomas and family as well.
That's right. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's amazing. I plan to have him on the podcast before too long as well. I've reached out to him.
Good, yes.
So, yeah, definitely. But Farryn, if you don't know who she is an actress from Vancouver, British Columbia. And she is known now. She's done a whole lot of stuff. She's still a young lady. It's not like because she started pretty young, and we can probably talk about that. But she's known mainly for the biggest works that you might know her from: Big Eyes, Everything, and My Sweet Audrina, as well as several Hallmark movies.
That's right. Yes.
Oh yes. We have Summer of My Dreams, Wedding of My Dreams. Both of those movies, that's actually kind of how I first knew her. Looks Like Christmas with Dylan Neal back a few years ago.
That's right.
And really several others that I had even forgotten. I was looking over your list and I'm like, wow, you've done quite a bit, and more Hallmark movies than I even remembered.
Yeah. Hallmark has been very good to me.
They have been.
Yes.
Well, and also Farryn is in college, so kudos to you for going to college, because not all young people in the industry choose that path. I'm not saying that everybody has to, but
yeah, it's not for everyone, but it's definitely something that I have really enjoyed. I mean, I'm an artist at heart, but academics are also something that really excites me, and I'm doing business at Simon Fraser.
Ooh, business!
Yes.
Awesome. Oh, I'm actually back in college.
Oh, are you?
I am. I'm taking a business marketing course.
Oh my goodness.
That's where. So I'm getting into all the business stuff, and I'm actually finishing.
Yeah.
I'm finishing up applied statistics right now,
Wow.
which is actually amazing because I've got 100% in the course so far, which just blows my mind.
Well done. Is that like business statistics? Because I'm actually just finishing that up right now as well.
This is just like applied statistics, so it kind of relates to business, but I don't know if they're all business majors that take it. I can tell there's some definite math people that are like super way above me, but
yeah.
So it's been a challenge, but I've loved it.
Well, it sounds like we can tutor each other.
There you go. Possibly. I've really been loving it. I did not think I'd ever love business, but that's great that you're doing business because I think, and I have a feeling that you probably agree, but I've talked to other actors who have gone the route of taking business and it really has helped them with their career.
Yes, it's very applicable. It's a good general degree to get. I mean, it's a lot of work, but I think it's going to really pay off in the future. So that's really exciting.
I would say you're right, because really, in a sense, when you're an actor, you're having to market yourself. You're like an entrepreneur, really, because and in this case, the product you're selling is you.
Yep, exactly.
So that's great. Well, good on you. I'm so grateful to hear that that's going well for you. And
thank you. And I'm excited for you as well.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Well, and of course, I'm actually working for an actor now, which is, I don't know if you knew that, but but I'm actually working for Paul Green. I'm his assistant.
Oh my goodness, that's so awesome. That's really fun.
Yeah. So that's actually what prompted my going back to school is I'm doing a lot of marketing stuff for him, and so I've been really getting into that. So that's cool.
Awesome.
So Farryn, I know you and I have chatted. Of course, you and I have had an interview before, but I wanted for a lot of people who are coming on, they may not know your background and how long you've been in acting and your story. So why don't you share how you got involved in acting?
Sure. Yes. So I'd say that how it started was I would have been 5, and my mom and we were doing a little family portrait, just the two of us. And I had always been like very creative, but the photographer said, "Wow, your kid is really photogenic and seems to love posing and stuff." He said, "Have you ever thought about getting her into commercials?" My mom said, like, no, but he gave her the name of an agent, and they sent me out on some stuff. I booked a couple Barbie commercials and immediately loved it. It was just so much fun. So I did that for a number of years, and then I took a break because I got braces. So I guess it was more of a thing back then that, like, you weren't supposed to have braces and stuff. Like now it's probably different, but then when I was 10, I wanted to get back into it. So I found another agent, and that was Allie Copeland. So I've been with Allie now for 10 years because I just turned 20, which is, it's crazy to think about. But she said to me, like I did some commercials, and then she said, "Would you be interested in television and movies?" I said, "Sure, why not?" The first audition that I ever had was for Tim Burton's Big Eyes. And this never happens. You never book your first thing, but somehow I booked it. And that was just an insane experience. And I loved it. It was fantastic. Yeah.
Well, first of all, that is an amazing testament to you and to your agent that you've been with for 10 years. That doesn't usually happen with adults, let alone young people, children. That just doesn't happen. Well, you must have a pretty doggone awesome agent then.
I do. Allie's fantastic. Yes.
That's pretty cool. And so
yes, everyone at Premier Talent Management, her sister Taylor and Brenda Campbell is my voice agent. They're all really great.
That's awesome. Well, that's good to hear. And it also means that you're being treated right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is good because I know, out in that the world of film and television, commercials, all that, most agents are absolutely amazing, but occasionally there are those ones that aren't really that great, or maybe they are more interested in taking advantage of young people. Even I've heard the stories of people who get taken advantage of, but thankfully you found a really good one. So that's great. I'm very happy for you, and that makes me feel good about your agency. Definitely. Wow.
Yeah, Premier's wonderful. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, and I know their reputation is pretty stellar anyway. So that's awesome. So Tim Burton. Now, I didn't used to be much of a fan of Tim Burton's. I think I used to think Tim Burton was so far out there, I didn't want to ever watch anything that he did.
Really?
Which I know sounds weird.
Funny.
But I just had a different way of looking at it. Actually, it's through my daughter Martha who really opened my eyes to, well, Tim Burton's really great, and she's made me a fan. And
yes,
in fact, we're going to this summer. We're going to New York, and we're going to see Beetlejuice the musical. And so
cool. When are you going to New York?
We're going in June, and so
okay.
Yeah. So
I'm going to New York in May, probably from the 10th to the 19th, and I'm visiting a friend of mine who his name is Ilhan Safarelli. Look him up. He's a jazz musician, and he's going to school there, and so I'm really excited. He's one of my best friends from high school, so that'll be really fun.
Exciting. Oh yeah. So that being your first experience on set, Tim Burton movie.
Yes.
What was that even like? I mean,
oh my goodness. Well, I think that I was a noob, right? Like I didn't it was all new to me. So I didn't necessarily I was really didn't want to step on anyone's toes, so I didn't ask for a picture with anyone, which now I kind of regret. But oh my God, it was thrilling. I worked with Amy Adams and Christoph Waltz, I remember just being in the green room with them. And Danny Houston or Huston, he was also in the scene with us, and Delaney Ray, she was also with us. And I mean, I was so young, so at this point, my memory of it isn't as clear as I wish it was. I really wish it was more clear, but I was just so nervous. And then at that point, I hadn't seen a lot of Christoph Waltz's work because I was so young. Now I've seen a lot more of it, and I love him. He's so fantastic. But Amy Adams, I used to love the movie Enchanted. I still do, still love that movie. So I was asking her all about that movie when we were in the green room. I was kind of like unintentionally interviewing them, right? Just asking all these questions and just geeking out about being around them. And I got some good advice from them, and it was really, really thrilling. I only worked on it for one day. It was just a small scene. I played Christoph's character's daughter, who he had kind of kept a secret from his new wife. And so then I show up, and she's like, what is this? Because I mean, his character is just a liar about a lot of different things. So here's one more of his lies type of thing, Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'd say you were, for only being there one day, you still have quite a few memories, I would say. And I know the thing about pictures. I have pictures that I wish I would have gotten photos with so and so, or with when I wasn't really thinking about it. And there are times, but I think sometimes when we don't have photos, there are those special moments that just, I don't know, we're like burned into our brains almost. I have a photo. It was never a photo, but I have one time where I was this close to Jane Seymour, and it was just for that moment. And all I remember thinking is, she is so gorgeous. I mean, that's what I remember.
Yeah.
Like, she's like just even as gorgeous as she is on the movies. I mean, even more so. It's like, wow. And realizing I was that close to her. And so yeah, I totally get the whole photo thing that happened.
Yeah.
But that sounds like an amazing, amazing first experience on set.
Exactly. I was very lucky.
Yeah. So I'm sure that made you then want to go out and do even more movies and shows and
Definitely. Yeah, no, I was sold from then on. Absolutely. I mean, I already knew that I loved commercials and I loved performing and I loved the arts because I was also a big dancer when I was younger. Don't do that anymore. Don't ask me to dance anymore because it's not pretty. But I obviously I still love to sing. I do art just for myself. I paint and I draw. And so yeah, the arts are a big part of my identity, and I'm very creative, and so yeah, I mean, I think that when you find something that you really really love, like it's addictive. You know what I mean? Like the movie industry, it's not for everyone. It's not easy. If you want to be in it, you really got to love it, and there are the bad days where you're just like feeling like down on yourself or whatever. But then you just have to remind yourself like, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I'm obsessed with it, like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know that, of course, I knew you from Hallmark. That's really
Yes.
been the big thing. And then I discovered I'd seen you in My Sweet Audrina, which is another like that's like an amazing movie.
Yeah, that was a really cool experience.
I mean, if any of my listeners, viewers have not seen My Sweet Audrina, while it's a little bit, it is a Lifetime movie, and I'm not going to say that it's for children, but
No.
it's a really well done movie. I mean, and it really tackles some serious issues
Yeah.
and it's got some twists and turns in it for sure. But and I believe it was based on a book, isn't that correct?
That's right, by V.C. Andrews, who also wrote Flowers in the Attic.
That's right. But it is a really well done movie. So if you're looking for something that is dramatic, and really deals with some serious topics, it's very well done. I think it won all sorts of awards too. I want to say, didn't that? It seems like that movie.
I can't recall perfectly, but the cast was really really great. Yeah, I had a lot of fun working on that one.
Yeah. So that's and then you get a chance to see Farryn. If you want to see Farryn in something where she really does get to shine, I think, and it really show her dramatic chops. It's a good one to look up for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So but of course a lot of my viewers and listeners of course are interested in the Hallmark stuff. So now I won't ask you what your favorite Hallmark movie is that you've done, because that might be hard, but what are some, if you think on your Hallmark career, what are some of the more special moments that come to your mind?
I mean, I always had such a fun time because I've really worked with great cast members that I've gotten very close with. Definitely, I'd say that like the two Summer of Dreams and Wedding of Dreams movies, obviously like Sean Thomas and I, like he's one of my best friends and best family friends. Our moms are like super super close. And so that's a really special friendship and a really cool experience to get to, record music for a movie as well. And then Looks Like Christmas, I'd say that that's my biggest role in a movie that I've had. So, I was working a lot on that. And that was really, really fun. And what else? Why am I having to like search of what have I been in?
I know it's hard. I know.
Yeah, it's been so many years. Christmas Carol. Oh no, that was Looks Like Christmas. That was Sean Kyer.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a really great friend that I made from that. And then Paper Angels, that was another early one with Josie Bissett. And yeah, there's been a lot. Just the Way You Are, that was another fun one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that just the friendships really stick out, the ones that I've kept close, and then the things that I've learned. I've definitely got great advice from the older mentors that I've worked with, um, and who have kind of, like when they're acting as your parents, like they really kind of do end up feeling like um, parental figures. I mean, like, just the advice and being able to speak to you from like an older actor who's had all the experience in the business, and it's really special. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you're talking about. I haven't really heard actors talk about how it's like they're on that movie and they're acting like parents and then they become like parents. I haven't heard it put quite that way, and I can definitely see that because the people that you've gotten to work with. I mean, I'm right now. I'm thinking of Looks Like Christmas, which I mean, I think that movie tends to be underrated for some reason. I mean, it gets replayed a lot, but a lot of people still
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. For sometimes I don't think people. If you actually sit down and watch it, it is very different than a lot of the Christmas movies that are out there. It's got a like, kind of a different feel to it, but it's so much fun and
Yes.
and I think that having Dylan Neal play your father, I mean,
Yeah, it was really cool.
how cool is that? I mean,
Really cool.
I've 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 gotten to know Dylan over the past few years, and it's just like I mean, you couldn't ask for a better mentor who really knows the business, and he's going to tell you straight. I mean, he's going to tell you nicely, but he's going
Definitely.
to tell you straight. And I have no doubt that you got to learn. I mean, you've learned from everybody, but you were on set interacting with him a lot more as well. So it's insane.
Definitely. And then Anne Heche was also
Yes.
played Sean's mom. And then a really cool coincidence is she was married to James Tupper, who played my dad in My Sweet Audrina. And he was also oh my god, I loved Anne. She was so much fun on set, super cool person. And James, I had a lot of fun with him also on My Sweet Audrina. And funny story was that the first time that we ever met was right before this really intense scene that we had. So we didn't have the time to kind of get to know each other before. We just, shook hands, nice to meet you. Let's get into the scene where we're screaming and yelling and crying. And like it was insane. It was just like the weirdest way to meet someone, but also kind of the best icebreaker that I think you could have. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, good. So that's kind of fun. Well, yeah, Anne Heche. I mean, Hallmark needs to bring her back.
Oh
They
my god,
definitely. I
absolutely.
mean, because she has not been in enough Hallmark movies, in my opinion. Of course, and I think I just say let's have a sequel to Looks Like Christmas and bring everybody back.
I would love that. Yeah,
See,
let's call up Hallmark. I would love that.
it's one of those movies that I loved. There was something special, and I know that I love Hallmark movies. Everybody knows that I love Hallmark movies and I love Hallmark Christmas movies, but there was something special about that cast and about the way you guys interacted and just this
Yeah,
movie magic that happens, and you don't always see it to that degree. I don't know, it just everything worked in that movie. It wasn't like there was a point where I said, well, why did they put that in, or why did they edit that out, or that was
mhm,
kind of boring, because sometimes you'll be watching a movie, and I don't get overly critical, but sometimes I see something and think, well, why didn't they fix that, or why did they cast those two people? But
right.
this movie, everything worked as far as I'm concerned. Looks Like Christmas, everything worked just like clockwork, I think.
Awesome. I'm glad that you loved it as much as we loved making it.
uh, so now the question I have now you've been in the industry for all this time and now you're a young
Mm,
adult,
yes.
so what are the challenges now, as now you're getting into your 20s, you have all these things from when you were younger, and what's the challenge about making this transition now into being a young adult in the industry?
Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't had an in-person audition since the beginning of March in 2020, right before COVID hit. So I remember that I had I had an audition after school this one day, and then right before I went on that audition, this is back in grade 12. Right before the audition, my school made the announcement that school was going to be ending a week early before spring break, because of COVID. And we thought that we were going to be getting to come back, but no. And so, yeah, my grade 12 year ended early, and then yeah, I still haven't had an in-person audition. I've just had self tapes and only a handful of them. So it's been frustrating to say the least. I really miss it, and I'm kind of thinking that my game plan is that once auditions do kind of start to be in person a lot again, then maybe I would take just like, because I take 4 courses per term, but maybe I would take like 2 or 1 course per term depending on the activity. And yeah, I mean, definitely there's like a lot of change. I think that I probably speak for everyone around the world when I say that COVID kind of teaches you a lot about yourself and allowed me a lot of time to reflect on who I was and what I wanted and what my aspirations were, and like maybe to like even like open my eyes to some insecurities and kind of needing to work on that for myself. So a lot of growth has taken place in these past 2 years, and yeah, I know more than ever how important movies and television are to me. And I know that that's what I love, and I know that I really want to give it a serious shot. Like I, because I've thought about, oh, like, do I just want to like invest all this time into my degree and get it done right away? But then I don't also want to miss any opportunities and to I don't know, like let a career that I could start at when I'm young, let that slip away either. I think it's really important to get into it like around the age that I'm at, because yeah, I turned 20 back in March, so yeah, it's weird. I'm not a teenager anymore.
I remember when that happened to me too. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a weird feeling. I know.
Mhm.
Well, what I want to say is, so I was listening to to all that, and I was thinking back to when we met, and I was thinking, you know what, Farryn, I can tell the amount of work you've done personally. I mean, you were amazing. Don't get me wrong. I was
Thank
amazed and impressed with you. But now, as you're saying all that, and just based on the way you're thinking, and you have like matured during this time for sure, and it's clear that you're spending that time on, if you want to call it personal development, whatever you want to call it, that
Mhm.
you've really been thinking.
A
And
lot of thinking, yes.
yeah, well, and that's good, because it would be very easy, and I know we all handled COVID differently. I mean, each of us had our
Mhm.
own ways of coping with it, and I'm not saying that one's better than the other or whatever, but I'm really grateful when I hear stories about people who they use that time, instead of just watching Netflix for, the past 2 years, or
Well, I did do a bunch of that too, but
I know.
um,
Well, I
I'd
understand.
say that more of the growth period has occurred just in like the past few months, actually, because um, my whole first year of university was entirely online, so there was a lot of Netflix watching and not being very active, and and so I had one in-person class in the first term of university, and now right now my second term I was finally all in person. So getting to make a lot of friends and meet a lot of people, and starting to go to the gym again and move around, and because I don't know, it was really hard being confined and not getting to go out and like live life to the fullest. And I mean, I got used to it, and I've had a really great time like being home. But at the same time, though, getting to really put yourself out there again is a really cool experience, and yeah, I think that it's been a big transition period. But I think that we're finally in a good place, and I'm feeling good now. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, I think and I think you answered it better than even the direction I was going, because
Okay.
no, it's good, because I understand. I mean, trust me, during COVID, there were several months where my daughter and I stayed up late just watching movies every night. I mean, that just was
Yeah.
the thing. And I wasn't getting much done, and I let a lot of things go.
Yeah.
But what I'm grateful for is when I see people who are making the decision, okay, now it's time we had that point where we were dealing with it, we were coping with it. It was a time that none of us really knew what to do, and we had our different ways of
Definitely.
coping. But now we're beginning to make that transition of, okay, I don't want to spend 2 years or 12 months or however long it is just sitting and watching TV, being on my phone and going through social
Hmm.
media and seeing what the latest is that people are posting. I'm not saying we don't do that at all, but it's also
Toning it
important,
down.
like you were saying, to really spend that time thinking and really reflecting on what's important, and
Yes.
where the direction you want your life to go. And so I just commend you for making that decision to at least put some time into that, because
Yeah. Thank you.
it's something that not that can be really, it could be really easy. It would be the easiest thing in the world in some respects to just say, well, COVID was going on for 2 years, and now I'm just going to sit around and do absolutely nothing. I don't really need to get back to life because this is comfortable and this is comfortable. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, we're kind of getting ready to move on, and I'm still, you're still able to do all those fun things and the things, downtime and all that. But
Yeah. There's a work-life balance, I guess.
exactly. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect way to say it. And here you are at 20, and you're already talking about that.
Oh.
That's great. No, that is great, honestly. So I definitely, I know I have my wonderful virtual audience who probably would like to ask you some questions.
Please, yes.
So Paula, would you like to come on? Yes. Okay. I figured she's usually, yeah.
Hello.
Hi there.
I'm going to go back to the top and work my way down because I have a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Go for it. Paula's great.
You started out by saying that you were taking business, but in high school, did you decide? I mean, kids have to think about it at that age, is like where they're going to go, what they're going to do. Did you just think of this? How did you choose that business line that
Yes. So I'd say that the things that I excelled in, I mean, I've put a lot of effort into math, but it was never my strong suit. My strong suit were my arts courses and my writing courses. I love to write. That's probably like the one thing where I can really say, okay, I'm good at that. Like math, I don't know, but writing I really love to do. And I also love science, especially like earth science and environmental science. And so I knew, okay, I really enjoy my academics. I really like learning. And acting is the dream, acting is the love. But I also have seen, like cases where, people don't necessarily like book for a while, and like myself. And I knew that I also wanted to kind of get the degree, one as like a safety net in a way, and then also just for my love of it. So I mean, in high school, they don't really have, my school didn't have business courses. Like there was economics, like AP economics and stuff like that. But business was more like, okay, I know I want to go to school, but I know that I don't want to do these things. So what's a degree that I can take that will be very applicable, that I will actually be able to use for sure. But that's very general and it doesn't confine me too much. And for me, that was business. So I figured like this will give me a lot of leeway about what I want to do. And it'll just be nice to have that degree, and it'll also be really fun to go to university. So yes, that's
Mhm.
why.
In high school, did you participate in any of like the drama clubs or to do part of the acting?
Yes. So I went to this one school in grade 8 and 9 where they had an improv team. So I did that. And
Oh.
then I transferred to another school for 10, 11, and 12. And they had school plays. They had two a year where you'd work on them for a few months and then perform them for a week. And so that I was very active in. I did, what plays did we do? We did 12 Angry Men slash 12 Angry Women, right? Because they had two casts. And I played juror number 8. And so that was really fun. And that was my first play that I did there back in grade 10. So it was really, really cool that I got that role. Do you know Matria Scarwiener?
I do.
Okay.
Paula might. She's been in some things, but you would look her up. You might know her from some Hallmark.
Okay. So her dad was my drama teacher at my school.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, Mr. Wiener, he was really great, and Maitreya, she would help out with the plays, with costumes and hair and makeup, and so that was really fun because she's older, so she didn't go to the school, and then what else did we do? We did The Visit, and then in grade 12 we only got to do one play, and we did. Oh goodness, what's it called? The Crucible, and I played Abigail Williams.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
So that was a really crazy role, and that was so much fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know we put our grandsons in summer plays, theaters or whatever,
Yes.
from a very young age, and I was always fascinated as they were handed the play on Monday, and on Saturday they're performing it.
Oh no, we had like a couple months to prepare.
This was 1 week. I mean,
That's
just
intense.
and they can remember the lines, and I mean,
Wow.
the youngest one would listen to because they were online CDs, they would listen it, and then he was singing and dancing and performing just in 1 week's time.
That's
sit back and
impressive.
go. So how do you remember your lines? How do you have a hard time? Is it difficult, or when are you given those lines to learn for any of your movies? Or
So you kind of try to pick up on little tricks as you go along, but something that I actively do a lot now is I will record myself reading out both or like all roles in a scene, like on my computer's photo booth, and then I'll record just the other people's lines, and then like not have anything for my lines, and then I will have that to kind of interact with, and that kind of that really does the trick. And then I'll go with my scene partner or whoever I'm doing the audition with, and then practice with them. So I like to practice on my own first, and really get it just like totally in my brain, and know it word for word really well, so that I can then kind of play more around with it and feel less like I'm focusing on the lines and more like I can focus on the scene itself.
that just fascinates me how they can just, because we're just seeing the movie,
Yeah.
and you don't see that you've, maybe messed up a line and had to do it again, or, are they just handing you, are they changing the words? And I can't imagine having to memorize, I can't remember my own name some days, just
Right.
so, let alone a line. And that's so your first one, Big Eyes, which I haven't seen these, and I am trying. I've tried to search for some of them to see, because I would like to see, because the Big Eyes fascinates me, because I was an art student also, and
Oh
I
wow.
want to see that movie so big. But I was
Good one.
when I saw Tim Burton was it, and I go, ooh, he's a little bit dicey movies, and you were so young. Did you know who he was? Did you have any idea how big of a person you were working for?
I definitely did. And I mean, I'm such a fan of his work. I love directors who like kind of push boundaries and who really make art of their work. I love that so much. I was always interested in him. Now I'm definitely more interested since I've like done like in high school. I also did like some like film studies classes and I actually like wrote and directed and did like the cinematography for a bunch of films. So I respect that so much. But yeah, I don't know if like I mean Big Eyes was definitely, it's one of his more like grounded works, I guess might be a good word for it. Like it's not Beetlejuice type of thing, you know. It's very far from that. But so yeah, it wasn't, it was definitely a different vibe, so it wasn't as out there, I'd say. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good way of answering the question, but yeah.
You had family support for you, that like, because you were young when you were doing this. Did your mom travel to make sure everything was safe for you? Because I saw that you were 12 years old. You played the 12-year-old in the Sweet
My Sweet Audrina.
Audrina, and that was a little bit more of a darker movie, wasn't it?
Was, yes, absolutely.
And recently Ruth had an actor and an actress who had talked about how they felt after and how it took a while for them to come away or come down from the part. You were young. Did you have a hard time?
I didn't. I was definitely taken very good care of on set. My mom has always been my number one supporter. And you know, like legally, like, you know, she was always required to be on set, so she was always around me. And then also like the actors that I worked with, like James Tupper was someone who I had a lot of intense scenes with. And he was so fantastic about, like, you know, we would be like screaming and yelling, and then immediately after he would like comfort me and be like, "Are you okay? Was that too much?" And I'd be like, "No, like I'm good. Like I'm super fine." Like I don't know. I was really good at I guess like being able to separate you know, the seriousness of that with like, you know, my own I don't know, like experience, like not being too scared by it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good to hear, because they really had difficult times. They talked about the, you know, difficult times of taking quite a while to coming down or coming off of a movie like that. So yeah. So getting to Hallmark now. You mentioned all of those Hallmark movies, but my favorite one, I am a military favorite one, and the Christmas Homecoming.
Oh yes,
Was the best, and it's on my watch list. That it's in my once a month I watch that
really
movie. Yeah. I'm a sucker for the Hallmark military movies, and that was really good. And you did a nice job to also. I mean,
well, thank you.
Yeah, that was really good. I flipped my thing. So you also mentioned now, because I'm also interested in, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can about the filming, the directing, the writing. I did see you said that you were writing.
Yes.
Did you write it? Where did you take a writing class in college or in high school that you are writing?
So the things that I wrote for our teacher in high school, so he would, you know, give us assignments for little short films to make. So we never made full-sized films because obviously, you know, we were still taking all of our other classes, but we would have these films that we would make, and I guess just practice, plus the fact that English class, just like, you know, high school English, every year was always one of my favorite courses. So, you know, taking my like writing skills from English and then applying my knowledge of the abundance of movies that I've watched in my life. I've seen so many movies, like in everyday conversations, like like can't help but reference a movie here and there. So taking my knowledge from there as well, and I don't know, having a really good idea of like how stories are put together and having a good amount of creativity and like the things that I could write. It was just something that came very naturally to me, and I haven't taken any screenwriting courses, but I would love that. I think that I would have a lot of fun with that. So something that that would be something I'm really interested in trying to find, if maybe there's an elective I can take for that in university. That would be fun.
I also like when I hear a new word that I haven't when it comes to the business part of it. You mentioned voice agent. What is a voice agent?
Okay, so I have my agent Allie Copeland and her sister Taylor, and then I have Brenda Campbell, who's my voice agent, who sends me voice acting roles, so like animation. She is the one that's in control of that. So they both work for Premiere, but Brenda's the one at Premiere who's all about voice work. So yeah, anything where you're not seeing my face, just my voice.
And how do you do that? You do that at home? You're just recording your voice?
Yeah, so I've never done a voice role. I've never booked one before, but like every now and then Brenda will send me something, and I'll take my phone and hold it up here, get like a nice like duvet over top of me so I have a good little sound set up, and I'll record myself and just reading out the script, which is also nice because I mean, obviously you'll want to like read it through a few times so you understand the scene, but then you don't necessarily have to worry as much about memorizing because you're not being filmed on like with a camera, right? So
get it off the paper.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then what is a self-tape then? You mentioned self-tape.
Yes. So, like the classic audition is where you would go to a casting director and be in the room with them. Maybe like the producer and director would be there. And you'll get to like go in and shake their hands and meet them, which I love. And then they give you like 1 or 2 tries at the scene, and they might give you a little bit of direction. And so you get to kind of make a connection with them, which is so fantastic. And that's what I really love, and that's what I really miss. But because of COVID, and we had self-tapes before too, we'd have some of those, but now that this is like the only thing that like we've been able to do. So I do them with my mom. My mom is my reader, so she'll have the camera on the tripod, and she'll read the lines, and then we'll just get a big bed sheet and hang it on the wall for like a nice background, and you'll tape it yourself. So instead of having the casting director and whoever do it, you're taping yourself. So you can do it for as many tries as you want, and you can really perfect it, it's nice because I guess there's less pressure. But at the same time, I don't know, I'm an overthinker. So sometimes like 20 takes later, I'm like, oh man, like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How do you get how are they choosing these? I mean, your agent sends you what
yes.
it is then?
So she would have usually sent me like maybe some self-tapes, and then also sent me on all of the in-person auditions. And now she just sends me the self-tapes. So it's still with my agent. And it's still with the same casting directors too, right? Like it's still the ones who I would have been seeing in person. Yeah.
Well, thank you for answering questions.
Thank you for your questions. Those were great.
Yeah. See, that's what I love because thank you, Paula. Those were great questions. What I love is so often, and I'm sure you get this too, you get used to that everybody knows what we're talking about. You kind of get used to it, and you forget. And I love, and that's one of the things that I've really appreciated about having my virtual audience is they will ask these questions or they'll ask them in such a way that like, I never thought about that. That's actually really good. And then, and so then when somebody's listening to the podcast, then they can actually get some information. And they're not sitting there saying, well, what's a self-tape? What's this? What's this?
Yes,
and so I really do appreciate that. I really, really do. Mm-hmm. Kelly, did you want to ask any questions? Okay. I thought you did. Okay. She's
cute cat. I like your cat.
She's always on these calls.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any advice you'd give your younger self? or to somebody coming who's wants to get into acting that's younger? Like sort of be a mentor to?
That's a big question. Yes, definitely a lot of things. Like I was saying, just the things that I've been able to like self-reflect upon. I'd say that, wow, there's a lot. I'd say insecurities are a big thing in the business. You know what I mean? For me, at least, just like feeling like not necessarily, I mean, there's like obviously the societal pressure, but just like the pressure that you then put on yourself to be a certain way, to come off a certain way, to look a certain way. That's a lot. That is a lot for a young person to have to deal with. And so I just say, like, not giving in to those insecurities too much, and not, ever feeling like, if you feel like that's like all consuming to you, I mean, insecurities are a thing that like I think that everyone experiences, but just trying
Especially
to
being female, right? A young
especially
female.
being female, just trying to work through those and to just like kind of find a healthy relationship with, exercising and food and balance and feeling good about yourself, and not letting what other people say dictate how you feel about yourself, I think is a really big struggle that, takes a long time to work on. But being conscious of that, and then also being conscious of like the pressure that you may put on yourself to, book a certain amount of things, and then when you're not booking, how bad that can feel, and kind of reminding yourself, like, this is something that I have to do a lot, is you kind of have to remind yourself, like, I mean, I know some people who were, also acting like with me in younger years, and then who stopped, who said, this isn't for me. I don't like this. It doesn't make me happy. And I think that if you ever feel that way, don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, only do it if you can't help but do it. Like I really can't help but like this is what I love. This is what I want to do. And I think that you definitely have to have that amount of passion for it to be able to do it. And if you ever have any doubt, do what you love. Don't ever feel like you have to do it. But I love it. And it's something that you just have to like remind yourself, like, through the hard days, that like this is something that I genuinely want, and that if you work hard enough, like your dreams will come true. Yeah.
That's good. That'd be good advice for someone younger coming up.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And excellent advice, Farryn. Excellent
Thank you.
advice. And I think excellent advice for young people, but really when it comes to it, for anybody, I think, because we have to be willing that there may come a point where we need to be redirected, and
yeah, absolutely.
And so that's just excellent. So now I want to go something interesting that you said about your love for science and environmental science. I think that was really interesting. So is that potentially like something that you're maybe somewhat, you want to be an activist in that area for environmental science? Is that something?
That's something that I haven't thought through that much, so I won't make any like definitive statements, but I think that, we all have like our little like interests and hobbies, right? Like, I don't know, whether it be knitting or like bird watching or whatever, right? Like having knowledge on different, earth processes and stuff like that. It's just really interesting to me, and it's not for everyone, but reading about this stuff and learning about it, I get so excited by it. It's something that I really have fun with. So, and I think that it's so important. I think that, we have to be taking care of this planet, and I think to not know about these things is like, it's like, well, this is where we're living. Like, I want to know as much as I can about my planet as I can. I mean, there probably are places where business and the environment could intersect. So that is something that I could potentially look into, and I would be interested in. Yeah.
No, well, that's good. It's good, and I understand not necessarily being activist about it, but just what you stated shows you've got an interest, and I love that you said this is where we're living, so we should know about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
rather than just, I think sometimes, and I know I can even be guilty of this. Sometimes we take this earth for granted, that
Yeah, absolutely.
that we don't have to do anything. It's just we take for granted that when we get up tomorrow, that the sun's going to come out, or it might be raining, but and that there's going to be enough food to eat. There's going to be
absolutely.
There's going to be beautiful flowers, and we have no way of knowing that this is a gift. I mean, this world that we live in is a gift, and sometimes I don't think we take very good care of that gift.
Definitely.
So that's interesting. I like your perspective on that. I really do. I was curious about that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, as you're getting older, is this and you probably did this when you were younger too. I'm thinking, since you have this connection with Sean, and I know Sean is often doing a lot of work, charity type work, different kinds of things that he's been a part of. Is that something that you've been able to be a part of as well? Have you been a part of any of these like charity type events, or are there causes that you've been able to support?
Yeah, I did. I sang at one of his events a few years ago. And I definitely love to do more of those things with him in the future. There's nothing that's like super recent that we've been up to, but yeah, I'd say that we are very privileged and have like that voice with, like, especially through acting and especially through our music, that I think it's a crime not to do whatever you can. So yeah, I would love to do more, and yeah, maybe I'll message him after this and then see what we can do, because that's a really good point. Yeah, Sean's so great about getting involved and doing a lot with his music. He's very inspiring.
Yeah. Well, and I know you love music as well.
I do. Yes, I'm literally like always listening to music.
Is that something that you plan to do more with? I mean, I know it's always hard to try, because when you're acting and music, depending on where you happen to be, they don't always intersect as nicely as you might want them to, unless you're doing a musical, which but are you hoping to do more with music in the future?
I've been asked about that before. Like, I've had like one of my friend's parents said, like, why don't you like actually just like see about doing music for a career? Like, you could. And I thought, I've just never really thought about that before. I thought about like acting and business, and then like I've seen music as more being like a fun hobby of mine, and I haven't ever really thought about seriously like trying to be a recording artist. But so like that's just not something that I've really thought hard about. But I do know that I love it, and I do know that I'd love to try some songwriting. That's something that I haven't done, and I I don't know how to write music, so that's something that I'd love to do, because sometimes I'll get these like melodies in my head that I'll just like come up with randomly, and I'll have to pull out my like my voice recording app on my phone and just like hum them out, so I don't get to like properly write them, which is funny. And then I'll have my notes app on my phone, and sometimes I'll like write out like lyrics that I think of, or like song titles that I think of, and I have a lot of stuff on my notes about that stuff. So yeah, I'd love to try to write a song, but I don't know about actually having that as a career. I just haven't thought about it.
Right. No, well, I think you have thought about it somewhat, and you've kind of decided.
Maybe.
I mean, which is good. You're not closing the door. We're not saying never.
Yeah.
I mean, of course. I like that you've been thinking about songwriting. I would think you could write some really. I'd love to hear you write a song, or hear a song that you've written. I really would, because I just think you have a really unique voice and a unique way, a unique perspective. I just remember that's whenever I think about you, and I think about when we met, it's like I just think about that there was something really unique in your perspective, in the way you viewed things, in the way that you viewed the world. And I think that you could write some really interesting songs that maybe and go a completely different direction than what's already out there.
Thank you. Yeah, I would love that. My favorite singer is Lana Del Rey. So she's a big inspiration for, I think, where I would want to what I would want to have my music sound like. So is do you know Lorde? She's another singer.
Oh yeah, of course. I can.
Yeah, and then I love Daniel Caesar a lot, and The Weeknd, and Frank Ocean, and Doja Cat. I have a very wide taste in music. I also love my classic rock and my 50s jazz, and I listen to everything under the sun. But Lana has a really big part in my heart for her music. I love her music very much.
That's awesome. Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, Farryn, we have been able to cover so much, and I just want to
yes.
I have totally enjoyed reconnecting with you, because it's been a while. It's been too long.
Absolutely. I have too. I know. Yeah, it's been a long time.
And now you're an adult, so it's and I can really tell that you've just matured, and you're just this amazing, accomplished, brilliant young woman.
Thank you. That's so nice.
And you are welcome, and it is true. There is no doubt about it. You are just. I am excited to see what your future holds, whatever that may be. And
thank you.
And so just thank you for agreeing to come on. And it was a joy and a pleasure. And Kelly and Paula, if you want to unmute and thank Farryn, feel free.
Thank you. I want to thank you also, but I want to suggest to you, see, now you have a voice agent and a self-tape. I think you need to tape a song, because Hallmark has been adding a lot of more music lately to their movies, and I think they need to hear it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I appreciate all of your questions. You're all very good interviewers, and you ask wonderful questions. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time and for having interest in me in the first place. I'm very flattered.
Hope to see you on the screen soon.
Yes,
definitely. I hope so.
Definitely. Yeah, they're really my co-hosts. When it comes down to it, I call them the virtual audience, but really they're my co-hosts. They
yes.
they do really well. So, all right. Well, thank you, Farryn. Thank you, Kelly, Paula. Wonderful for you to be here too, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I'm so glad that I got to share Farryn with all of you. She's one of these young ladies in the film and TV industry who maybe you don't realize that you know her, but she's had a super long career and been in more things than some of the adults that I've interviewed. Not that makes her better, it just means that she's had these incredible opportunities, and she has taken advantage of every single one, has had supportive parents, all those things, and I could not ask for a better young lady to interview. She's in college. I mean, this woman, give her a few years, and I just have this feeling that we're going to hear such great and mighty things from this woman. And I want to thank all of you who were there in spirit and physically, because it means so much. I love my virtual audience, my co-hosts, my unofficial co-hosts. If you enjoyed this, please go to Apple Podcasts, subscribe, rate, and review. If you're watching it on YouTube, please give a thumbs up, subscribe, love it. Please join my Facebook group. There are more interviews coming. I promise we have got some great things in store, and this is going to take off again next month. You are going to really see some great and exciting things. I don't want to give anything away, but trust me, exciting things are on the way. Thank you all for your support as always. God bless. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Another episode of Media from the Heart. Bye for now.